Hello.
Hey, Tren.
How are you today, Lou?
I'm actually a bit bloody tired today.
Yes, after the
Yes,
big weekend, the big week you've had.
big week. But anyway, yeah,
Takes a while to get over these things, doesn't
it
it?
does. It
Yes.
does.
So,
We are the tarot dealers.
yes, we are. We've got quite a bit of experience.
We
We
do. Two old ducks that just love their tarot
exactly.
cards,
Yes,
websites,
websites. We love.
Gmails.
Oh yes, Gmail. You want this is very chopping now. But anyway, if you'd like to contact us in any way, we have an email address, which is the tarotdealers@gmail.com.
That's
You
us.
can contact us on Facebook, Instagram, but let us know
YouTube.
if you've got any subjects or any questions you want us to answer.
Yeah,
Let us know because we'll answer them.
we will to the
Yeah,
best of our ability.
exactly. Yes.
All right,
So
what are we doing today?
we are looking at the fives in the tarot. We've just finished doing all
Mm.
the scary cards in the minor and major, and sometimes the fives can be just as scary,
Yeah, they can be difficult to read,
very
can't
difficult.
they?
And again, again, we're coming back to the images. Sometimes the
Mm.
images can be scary as well. They're not pretty. They're not all
Mm.
light and fairy, are they?
No, like in numerology or Chinese numerology,
Yeah,
it's the fives are a really positive thing,
they
but in
are.
the tarot, they're not.
They're not.
The five is not.
Yeah.
The five is like right smack in the middle of something. What did you say?
It's
Someone called it hump
a
day,
hump day in the tarot. This is the fives are the hump day in the
and
tarot.
that makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah,
Because a hump day can go either way, right?
exactly.
So the
So
fives could be that, but they're
yeah,
also they show us like where the physical exhaustion is or
yeah.
what how tasks aren't coming together, or they might show you the financial depletion or the
Yeah.
material depletion or
Well,
the disconnection
yeah,
from, like they
exactly.
show us a lot of things. But anyway, I'm going to let you start and talk
Yes,
about
okay.
all the things that you've discovered
That
in
I've
your time
discovered.
working with the fives.
Yeah, and it's like Lou said, the fives quite all the way through the four elements represent conflicts, don't they? In their own different ways, they are conflicted. And in a sense, they're also a bit of a turning point.
Absolutely, they're a turning
They
point.
are, I don't think you wouldn't want to go backwards, but you can, I often think quite often once you hit a five, you have to go forward. That's what I think, because you don't want to go backwards.
Well, you wouldn't want to go
You wouldn't want to
backwards.
go backwards.
Sometimes your ass is dragged back there.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Time's not right, so you drink, you haven't finished something, isn't it?
Doing some shit again. Oh my God, I thought I dealt with that dickhead. And here you
Yeah,
are again. Oh, okay.
yeah. But they quite represent difficult situations,
Yeah.
quite difficult a lot of times,
Mm.
and that you have to experience to move forward. As horrible as they are, you have to experience the sadness and the grief with the Five of Cups to move forward.
Yeah.
Because there is a positive on the other side. I often think, anyway.
Yeah, I believe that
Yeah.
there's a positive or a dark and a light side
Yes.
to every single card,
Yeah.
right? But from a fives point of view, I look at it, and I'm just looking at the five of wands for a second, right? And we talk about the wands. So we're looking at the Rider-Waite deck for those of you who are
Yeah.
listening. And doesn't mean you aren't listening. None of
No,
no
no,
one's
no.
listening. I just mean for
You
those who
are listening and not
listening and
watching.
not watching. I'm like, just sound a bit school teacherish. Yeah, so in the five of wands in the Rider-Waite deck, we see a group of people that look like they're trying to work against each other or for each other, but it's not
It's
working.
not working. The
Every time
teamwork's not there.
the teamwork, faulty
Yeah.
teamwork, or disconnection from the team, or self-indulgent within a team. So I see that as bloody tent. When you're
Yes,
trying to put a
put a
tent together,
tent
it's
up.
like bloody tent. There's
Yeah.
something missing.
Yeah.
And I see there's something missing because the ones are about the action that we take. They're the verb in
Yeah.
the deck, right? So I see that as the missing action
Mm.
or the action that isn't coordinated, because look at that with all those
Yeah.
people just trying to kind of do
Not
their own
do their own
thing,
thing.
right? They're not
Yeah.
actually working together,
No.
or they're not communicating.
Yeah.
That's not a sword, right? Because that's about the communication
Yeah.
piece. It's just like they've got their own
Idea of how they want things done, isn't
how
it?
they want it put together and
Yeah.
how they want to do it, because it's a pretty clear sky right? That
Yes.
sky is clear, which is kind of a bit deceiving because you think, oh, it's all clear,
But it's not.
but it's not because the action is not.
It's not.
It's
It's not straightforward, is it?
No, it's like the faulty action
Yeah.
or the non-coordinated action or the missing
Yeah.
action is
It
how I
can
see
quite
that.
also be you're in competition. You're in
Oh,
competition with people,
absolutely. That's a really
you know,
good point too. Yeah, you could be in competition.
because again, it comes back to everybody's doing their own thing, running their own race, and nobody's working together to get the result that they're all working together, working for, but not together.
Yeah, it's like you could say like working in silos.
Yeah.
That shit happens a lot in corporate, right?
Yeah.
I think it happens in any fucking
Yeah.
organization, to be honest with you. But yeah, so working in silos.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's like the left hand's not talking to the right hand.
Yeah. Left doesn't know what the right's doing. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it's yeah, and something I also saw, you're not being a player in life. You're not being a player.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
You're it's all about you, and you're not taking into consideration life around you, people around you. It's like,
Maybe the impact that you're having on people.
people, yeah.
Yeah, maybe the impact.
So it's an interesting card. I know, and I have talked about this before, but my niece always talks about don't be a dick with your stick.
Yeah, don't be a dick with your sticks. Yes, I
Because
do
that's
like
basically what they're all being.
Yeah, yeah.
They're all running their own race and nobody's talking to each other, or
I like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
well, then again, it comes back to that's no teamwork at all.
Yeah, they're all on there.
They're all doing their own thing.
And trying to kind of force this thing to come together that can't come together because don't even know where we're supposed to be. We only know where I'm supposed to be, not where he or she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you may not put yourself in the right order, which means it's not going to stick.
It's not going to work.
Stick together, right?
Yeah, it's not going to work. So, and we'll move on to the Five of Pentacles.
Okay.
Which is, in contrast, look at that. The darkness behind, we're using the right way. So the darkness behind of the church or whatever it is. It's even that the color grey, black feels despondent, doesn't it? There's so much despair in that card.
Absolutely. And I mean, black can be unknown, right?
Yeah.
And hidden, but it can be that darkness that you enter, right? And they're not connected. They're on the outside of this. Pentacles are here all lit up, but they're on the outside of this, not aware. So it can speak to disconnection.
Yeah.
But there's a story behind this card. Did you know that? So the story behind the card is that we have the beggar and the blind person, basically.
Yeah.
So together they work through adversity. So it's a card that can get you through adversity.
So, and they sort of are helping each other, right? So,
relying on the resources that you have available to you for where you lack, someone else may have something that you need. And that's exactly what that is about, because the blind person is being helped by the
sighted
beggar
person,
or the cripple or the sighted person. They're all shitty words, but
that's
they are.
They are. Exactly.
That's what they are. That helps them get through that, So it is the opposite of this, where we're not working together, to where we actually have to work together with the resources we've got.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think you talked about it one time. There was an anchor in that window.
Yeah.
And it's called the anchor of hope. So if you go sort of ignore the pentacles and just take the long strip, I suppose, and then the anchor on the bottom, it's known as the anchor of hope. So there is hope in this card. Even though you might feel like you're out in the cold, you're doing all this alone, there is hope, there is support.
Yeah. Sometimes I see that card as a way to share with someone whether they're going to move to a place that has cold or snow.
Oh, yes.
Or maybe, like if they say, I don't know which job to take, and you're like, well, where are they? And they go, oh, like one's in
Alaska. One's in the Sahara.
And you're like, oh no, you'll go to Alaska, that's extreme, right?
Yeah.
But even things like it might be they have a choice of a couple of jobs, and you could say, or a choice of something.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, I feel that you'll choose that it'll be where it's a cooler
A
climate.
cooler climate. Okay, I hadn't seen it. I hadn't
Yeah,
looked at
a
it like
cooler
that
climate.
before.
So it doesn't have to be
Straight out.
snowing
yeah.
or whatever. It can just be cooler climate. And like, we're based in Australia and,
Yeah.
and in Queensland, and sometimes this has meant either like down towards
Melbourne,
Melbourne,
Tasmania, yeah.
but also it could be like our ranges with Toowoomba,
Yeah,
and because they're quite
they
cold.
get cold. They get
So
very cold.
yeah, I find it can be like that.
Okay, yeah.
That's just been my experience anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, that's something I'd never sort of thought of before.
Mm.
You know, because again, when that Five of Pentacles comes out, people go, "Oh no, I'm not losing all my money."
Yeah, yeah, and it may not be about the money,
It's not
right?
about the
It
money.
may not be about the money. And like, I look at this guy on the crutches, and I feel there's a few things about him. One, is he relying on a crutch?
Exactly.
Is he
Yes, I
relying on
think.
a
Yeah.
crutch? Because he's actually fucking got all his weight on one of those
Yeah.
legs of his, which you would think he couldn't walk on, but it looks like
Exactly.
it can.
Yeah.
But so a bit of an image, but also like he might need a bit of help
A bit
to,
of help. Yeah.
so it depends what you're feeling when you're looking
Yeah.
at this, because that's quite a
Yeah,
contradiction
because you're
in
pointing it
itself.
out. I often look at this. Sometimes I can't pick it up. The figure that Lou just pointed out, the one on Cox, he's wearing a bell around his neck. So you're going to hear him when he comes. So in a sense, and it's similar to what Lou just talked about, are these two scammers? Are they playing up the illness and the give me money because I'm sick or I'm injured? What are they really?
I'm a victim here.
I'm a victim. And with that bell, like, you can hear me coming.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know,
Yeah.
there's so many things in there that then become contradictory, like we just said,
So it's not just the you're losing all your money, you're gonna fall on hard times. It's not
necessarily
in any of those meanings.
No.
Look into the cards, see how you feel.
See how you feel about it. Yeah, what see, feel, no, trust.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
you
See,
get
feel,
to-
no, trust.
And see, trust is the hardest part.
Trust is the hardest part, right? For a lot of us, trust is the hardest
Yes.
part, right? I can trust the cards that I get for everybody else.
Yes.
Right? When it comes to myself, I can't.
No.
I can't fucking read this myself.
Yeah.
Because I get that tunnel vision.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like we want to see what we want to
And your
see.
focus is where your focus is, right?
Yeah.
So you're not open up to that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's a blind spot. But this, to sum it up just in a couple of words, is like unattainable resources, or resources that you're not connected to yet, or resources that have been withdrawn from you. So because it's about that connection to the resource, which isn't happening, if that makes sense. And yet all things are made available for you to be able to do that, because these two things down there is actually the entrance to the church door, because this is inside the church. It's kind of like the church window, right? So that's inside the church, and they're both walking past it.
Are you ignoring the option to get support?
Absolutely. Are you ignoring the option to get support? Are you aware that there's support?
Exactly. So it's a deep card, that one.
It is a deep card. It is a deep card. The fives are mysterious.
They are. And when we'll go on to the Five of Swords. Now, I don't really like fives anyway, but the facial expression on this guy holding all the swords is very smug.
He's very smug, yeah. He's very smug.
I did this. Look, off you go.
Yeah.
Off your trot.
He's got his, because it can be conflict, right?
Yeah.
Typically speaking, that is a card of conflict.
Yeah.
What is the conflict about? Is it with others? Well, it can be.
Yeah.
Remember that the swords themselves are about how we communicate, our beliefs, our ideas, our attitudes, thoughts, right? So are we in conflict with our own thoughts?
With ourselves?
Are there beliefs that we need to put down? Right, that we need to say goodbye to? Absolutely. And I was reading something recently, and on the Rider-Waite deck, when you're looking at it, you'll see that these three figures Starts small, medium, and then large, right?
Yeah.
So that can be an indication that there's 3 steps to something, right? That you need to take in terms of how you communicate, who you communicate with, what you're communicating, what you're going to let go. Yeah, interesting.
Interesting.
And the water in the background on that, to me, looks icy cold.
Yes, it does.
So the emotion is a bit frosty.
Yes.
A bit frosty in the background there. Might be a bit hard to see, but yeah, grab your deck out and have a look. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, because I quite often go to the clouds on the 5, the way they've been cut.
It is cutting, isn't it?
It's cutting. It's the way, have you, and again, looking at the figures, have you been really cutting with your words, and you have cut certain people out of your life with your words? Have you been too sharp? Have you been so arrogant and said what you had to say, and not taken any emotion, or not taking into consideration the other person's feelings?
Yeah, maybe not read the room so much.
Exactly.
It's kind of the thing that comes to mind for me is that I have to win. Like, that's to me what that card means, is I will win at all costs.
At all costs.
And well, it can be I will win at all costs. And I look at that, and the figure furthest or the smallest on this card literally has their head in their hands. So
they've lost everything.
Right? So which part of you are you portraying there? And have you lost everything in order to win?
Yeah. It's not a victory then, is it?
It's not a victory then, no. Can be a victorious card, of course. It
can be,
maybe claimed your intellectual property back.
You've triumphed over a conflict, maybe.
Gotten rid of some stuff that no longer suits or works. So again, depending on what cards around it and all that. But this is, for a 5. So it is about the conflict or the difficulties with communication, the beliefs, the ideas you have. It's all around that. So it's like
we keep going back to that mental side, don't we? With swords,
very mental.
It's mental. Are we, again, like Lou said, are we fighting with ourselves? Are we not ignoring, but are we pushing what we really need to the back, and not acknowledging certain things, certain ideas, certain beliefs? We not acknowledging those, and just going with what we think the world needs to know, or what we show the world.
Exactly. And he's got 2 swords that are upright, right? He's holding 2 that are upright. So there may be a couple of ideas that are upright. One that he's like making a statement with, planted in the ground, and maybe these are the discarded ideas that are on the ground, right? It can be that. Maybe he just can't carry everything. Again, cut his nose to spite his face, and he just wants to win at all costs.
Exactly.
Because that can be a thing for some people, right?
Oh,
in some situations,
very much can be.
Not that we've ever experienced
that,
Tren. We've never come across that in our lives.
No way.
Oh, that's funny.
So, and now we're moving on to the 5 of Cups. Again, that blackness is what I go to. That you are hiding. You've completely encased yourself in this. And I often think, when I see this card, it's like time to throw off that overcoat of unhappiness, of disappointment. When I look at that, when I look at that and I get those words, it's not about the sadness or grieving. It's the disappointment that you need to throw off, and turn around to see what is working.
I can see exactly how you've come to that. Come to that conclusion there, where we're looking at the disappointment here, but you turn around and you have these 2 cups left. So this code, as Tren said, can be that depression, can be that code of disappointment. It can also be the code of the unknown, because I see that. I see darkness sometimes as unknown. So not knowing what's coming, or feeling all consumed by the unknown, can be that. This is a card of trying to work out the emotion, right? Because it's an emotion that, things feel disappointed and things
Yeah.
you feel disappointed, and you also feel like things have been spilled. It's like that spilt milk,
Yes.
you know, where you're
Yeah.
looking at what's gone wrong rather than what's left behind and what's
Yeah.
gone right. But in the background there, you'll see this bridge. Now, it's a bridge over the water,
Yeah.
right? Because the water's running in the background here. So what's that saying where they say like water under the bridge?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah,
It's let it go. But it's also build a bridge and get over
build
it.
a bridge and get over it. Yeah, let that water go. So it can be that. So when you see symbols like that on the card, then you would connect that to what the meaning, not so much the meaning of the card, but the symbology. In this sense, it's the cup, right? The element. I'm like, what the fuck am I trying to say?
Yeah, the element.
It's the element. So you would connect the symbols that you see on the card in addition to the element. So it's about getting over the emotion.
Yeah.
Or allowing the emotion to flow, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, especially with this one, if you early on in your tarot journey, you're not sure what the cups mean, there is a river there to show you that cups are water. And water is emotion.
Yeah, and cups hold things, right? And one of the easiest way to remember cups is that we'll go cheers, right? You say cheers.
Yeah.
And that's usually because that's an emotion that we want to share or celebrate or have a good time with. So that's how you remember the cup. You've got to fill your own cup.
Fill your own cup is a huge,
it's a huge thing.
It's a huge thing.
Fill your own cup. So so the fives will
challenging as they are,
very challenging, will tell you that it's about the action that isn't working or that you need to work together on, moving into the resources that you need to realize are available to you and maybe be open to receiving some help or open to looking at different resources.
Expanding your vision a little bit, isn't it?
Absolutely expand your vision, And then the Five of Swords is about like that intellect, that ideas. Not all ideas are going to run.
No.
They're just not all going to run.
It's not going to work.
What are you prepared to put down?
Exactly.
What are you prepared to put down to make that work?
To work, or
at least, you need to watch how you speak to people? Are you being too sharp?
Exactly. Being too cutting. Because we can do that. We can be cutting. And again, our words hurt.
Words are like weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So
absolutely. And then the emotion, right? Exactly. What emotion has been spilled over, maybe because you haven't filled your own cup and you're not able to cope in that emotion. In that emotion. Yeah, absolutely. Or are you just simply looking at all the shit that's gone wrong and not even bothering to consider that what's gone right or what you have left to work with?
And a lot of times we forget that, something's gone wrong, but in order for things to go right, things had to go wrong.
Absolutely. Sometimes shit has to fall apart.
Exactly.
So you can see exactly what was really happening. Exactly. Where you're like, oh, shit.
If you had kept going along that path, you wouldn't have worked.
You would, absolutely. And I mean, that can be for any situation, right? Like relationships, it can be for work, it can be for business. You have this great idea in business and you think, I'm going to run with that and I've got a good feeling about it and that's going to work. And you just hit block after block after block. And, you do the work alongside that. You raise your frequency and your vibration and you're doing all your cleansing and you're getting the clear intention and you're sitting and you're talking to your higher self and still
hitting
you're
brick
like,
walls.
What the fuck? Yeah. So it's like everything happens for a reason, right? Yeah. So follow the frequency, follow your vibe, and be open to receiving help. Be open to new ideas, new resources, and new ways of working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And when the fives come up in your reading, look further into the card.
Yeah.
Because they're there for a reason. They're there to say either slow down or look at the situation and what is not working. Who's in the team is not working. Is it you?
Is it you? Do you even want to admit that?
Exactly.
Probably not. Although, time to step your ego aside and see what's really going on.
Exactly. So it's as much as we don't like seeing fives in readings or when they come out, when we pick cards, it's like they're necessary.
Yeah, and I don't think it's that we don't like to see them. I think you've hit it on the head there. It's necessary. It's necessary. Right? It's part of the process.
It's part of the journey, going from aces right through to tens.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey. We can't go from 4 to 6 because we'd miss out on things.
Well, yeah,
We could, but
yeah, you certainly could. However, yeah,
you just miss out on the lessons you have to learn. You have to work through.
yeah, you need to
You
have a
know,
good look at.
yeah, it's like sometimes we have to suffer to get to the other side to go, right, I now know what I need to do.
And do you think it's suffering, or do you think it's like learning? Like,
I think it's a bit of both.
yeah,
We
okay,
can learn through suffering.
this is true.
You know, we sometimes we have to, maybe even, especially with the sword, maybe we're so not ignorant, but we are not listening or to the signs, or we're not looking to the signs that have been placed in front of us, and then we just get a brick wall, you know. So it's like, okay, you know, now you're going to listen.
How many of you motherfuckers get that, right? Seriously, like,
You know, so it's like, yeah, we're troughing a lot, and we need to hit that brick wall to feel that loss,
yeah,
you know, to feel something's not right, because we were just going along oblivious, you know, and the universe or whoever's chucking things in our way, and we're just stepping over them.
yeah. And I mean, remember, like, that we create our reality through our own thoughts and our own energies and all the things, right? And that's the reflection out here.
Yeah.
So it is about, I feel, stopping and taking a look as to which area needs adjusting here.
Yeah.
Like, am I not taking the right action? Is my thought space
Not the right, you know,
not,
is it? Yeah.
not the right
Yeah.
thing?
You
Am
know.
I emotionally stuck on something? Have I
You know,
not built a bridge,
yeah,
like,
or not got the right resources that I needed.
exactly. And
Yeah.
remember, your resources can be your time and your money, right?
Exactly.
As well as, so
They don't have to
energy
be
doesn't have
physically
to be.
money, yeah, or
Yeah,
something physical.
yeah,
It can be, are we not looking after our body?
yeah.
You
Well,
know?
anything that you can touch,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But yeah, and your resources include time and money.
And
But
time
yeah,
and money.
are you
Yeah.
looking after it?
Yeah.
Are you playing the victim, as we're talking about before?
Exactly.
Like,
You
there's a
know,
victim in every one of those cards,
there
actually.
is.
So I'm like,
So,
yeah,
is it you? Are you the victim?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
not?
Are you actually the victim?
Yeah,
Or are you doing that projection
exactly.
thing that you need to go away and have a look at? So the
Yeah.
fives certainly give us a lot
A lot to
to
think about.
Yeah, and a lot to work with and through, I feel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed that little bit of
Just the
our
fives.
just the
God.
fives, and how interesting they can be when you actually really start looking at the cards and
Yeah.
going into them. Yeah, how interesting they are. And so when they turn up in your readings, don't turn your nose up at them. Look into them and just go, yeah, okay, well, what is this telling me? What is it that I'm not seeing? What am I ignoring?
Yeah, what am I ignoring? Or am I victim to or of something,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
hope
So
this made sense.
yeah, I
That was
hope it
pretty
made
cool.
sense. Yeah. So again, if you want to contact us, our email is the tarotdealers@gmail.com. Otherwise, send us messages on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. We will never reach out to you.
That's right.
We will not reach out to
You
you.
will reach out to us,
Yeah.
because if someone's
Yes.
reaching out saying
Yeah.
it's us, that's a
Too many
scam.
scammers.
Too many scammers. Too many scammers. Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Yes. So I hope you've enjoyed that. We
Yes.
certainly have, and we will see you next time.
We will.
All right.
Bye.
See you later.